What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'm going to be reviewing the League of Legends champion KARTHUS. He happens to be the third champion now. I am reviewing from the Shadow Isles. So we continue this theme of going through all the Shadow Isles champions, and then we'll go through maybe the special interactions from Legends of Runeterra for the Shadow Isles as well, similar to what I did for Demacia recently. Anyways, yeah, this is KARTHUS. This is the champion I'm going to review. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go through his bio, then I'm going to go through react and review his skins, then I'm going to go through a login theme. At the moment I can't find one. I cannot find a login theme, which is criminal. I mean, come on League, if I can't find a login theme, that's a problem. So I'm going to try and do a login theme if he has one. Also any special interactions. I'll also cover his story, and then I'll finish off with his spotlight. I'll timestamp the whole thing, as I always do. So yeah, without further ado, let's go. So, KARTHUS. Death is not the end of the journey, it is just the beginning. Okay, I guess it makes sense when you're rocking that region as well. Death is not the end. Fair point. So, let's read the bio. So, let's zoom in. The Harbinger of Oblivion, what a name. KARTHUS is an undying spirit whose haunting songs, which we know from Pentakill, which is a great song, mortal reminder. Haunting songs are a prelude to the horror of his nightmarish appearance. The living fear the eternity of undead, but KARTHUS sees only beauty and purity in its embrace, a perfect union of life and death. When KARTHUS emerges from the Shadow Isles, it is to bring the joy of death to mortals. Yeah, good luck with that. An apostle, should I say, of the unliving. KARTHUS was born into abject poverty in the sprawl of dwellings built beyond the walls of the Noxian capital. His mother died at the moment of his birth, leaving his father to raise him and his three sisters alone. They shared a crumbling, rat-infested almshouse with scores of other families. Nice. Subsisting on a diet of a diet of rainwater. Let me read that again. A diet of rainwater and vermin. Yeah, nice. Of all the children, KARTHUS was the best. It gets better, doesn't it? It gets better. He was the best ratter. I don't even know what that means. And regularly brought gaunt corpses for the cookpot. Death was commonplace in the slums of Noxus, especially if you're eating rats. Come on. And many mornings began with the wailing of bereaved parents who woke to discover their child cold and lifeless beside them. KARTHUS learned to love these laments and would watch fascinated as the tally men of kindred notched their staffs and bore the bodies from the almshouse. At night, the young KARTHUS would sneak through the cramped rooms, seeking those whose lives hung by a thread, hoping to witness the moment their souls passed from life to death. So the guy is already set. He's already a candidate for the Shadow Isles from the get-go. For years, his nightly travels were fruitless, as it was impossible to predict exactly when a person would die. He was denied witnessing the moment of death until it reached his own family. Okay. Outbreaks of disease were frequent in such cramped confines, and when KARTHUS' sister sickened with the plague, he watched over them intently. While his father drowned with grief, KARTHUS was the ever dutiful brother, caring for his sisters as the disease consumed them. He watched each of them as they died, and a sublime connection seemed to reach into him as the light faded from their eyes, a yearning to see what lay beyond death and unlock the secrets of eternity. When the tallymen came for the bodies, KARTHUS followed them back to the temple, asking them question after question about their order and the workings of death. Could a person exist at the moment where life ends, before death begins? If such a limited moment could be understood and held, might the wisdom of life be combined with the clarity of death? Okay. The tallymen quickly recognised KARTHUS' suitability for the order, and he was inducted into their ranks, first as a digger of graves and a pyre builder before ascending to the rank of corpse collector. You know you've made it when you're a corpse collector. Jeez. KARTHUS guided his bone cart around the streets of Noxus to gather the dead every day. His dirges quickly became known throughout Noxus, mournful laments that spoke to the beauty of death and the hope that what lay beyond was something to be embraced. Many a grieving family took solace in his songs, finding a measure of peace in his heartfelt elegies. Eventually, KARTHUS worked in the temple itself, tending to the sick in their final moments, watching as whatever death had laid its claim upon them took its due. KARTHUS would speak to each person laid before him, ushering their souls into death, in search of further wisdom in their fading eyes. Eventually, KARTHUS reached the conclusion that he could learn no more from mortals, that only the dead themselves could answer his questions. None of the dying souls could tell of what lay beyond, but whispered rumours and tales told to frightened children echoed of a place where death was not the end, the Shadow Isles. Right, so here we go. KARTHUS emptied the temple's coffers, and brought passage to Bilgewater, a city plagued by strange black mist said to draw souls, which is the heroine, to a cursed island far out to sea. No captain was willing to take KARTHUS, makes sense, to the Shadow Isles, but eventually he came upon a rum-sodden fisherman with a mountain of debt and nothing to lose. The boat piled the ocean for many days and nights until a storm drove them onto the rocks of an island that appeared on no chance. A black mist rolled out from a haunted landscape of gnarled trees and tumbled ruins. The fisherman freed his boat and turned to prow in terror for Bilgewater, but KARTHUS leapt into the sea and waded ashore. Steadying himself with his notched tally-staff, he proudly sang the lament he had prepared for the moment of his own death, and his words were carried on a cold wind to the heart of the island. The black mist flowed through KARTHUS, ravaging his flesh and spirit with ancient sorcery, but such was the force of his desire to transcend mortality that it did not destroy him. Instead, it remade him, and KARTHUS was born anew in the waters of the island as a fleshless revenant. Revelation filled KARTHUS as he became what he always believed he should have, a being poised at the threshold of death and life. The beauty of this eternal moment filled him with wonder as the wretched spirits of the island rose to behold his transformation. Drawn to his passion like predators sensing blood in the ocean. Finally, KARTHUS was where he belonged, surrounded by those who truly understood the boom underneath truly was. Filled with righteous zeal, he knew he had to return to Valoran and share his gift with the living. Good luck with that. To free them from petty mortal concerns. Okay. KARTHUS turned and the black mist bore him over the waves to the fisherman's boat. The man fell to his knees before KARTHUS, so he didn't really get out too quick, did he? Begging for his life, and KARTHUS granted him the blessing of death, ending his mortal suffering and raising him up as an immortal spirit as he sang his lament for passing souls. The fisherman was the first of many stuck souls KARTHUS would free, and soon the Death Singer would command a legion of unliving wraiths. To KARTHUS's awakened senses, the Shadow Isles was in the state of a pathetic limbo, where the blessings of death were squandered. He would galvanize the dead in a crusade to bring the beauty of oblivion to the living, to end the suffering of mortality and usher in a glorious age of undeath. So, KARTHUS has become the emissary of the Shadow Isles, the herald of oblivion, who laments as penance to the glory of death. His legions of unbound souls join with him funeral dirges, their haunting song reaching beyond the shadow mists to be heard on cold nights over graveyards and channel houses across Valoran. Right, what is it with all these people? All these people from the Shadow Isles are obsessed with death. And I don't mean now they've been consumed by death. I mean prior. The guy was obsessed with death when he was living. And I guess in a weird way that kind of saves him as well, because like I said there, that was one of the reasons why the black mist didn't consume him completely. It just converted him into something that he always wanted to be. Yeah, so we had Muego, who was crazy. We had Hecarim, who was evil. And this guy is as deluded as it gets as well. So, yeah, we've got obviously related characters. We've got KARTHUS, we've got Mordekaiser, we've got Thresh, and we've got Yorick. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move on to his skins. Let's go. So, role is mage, difficulty is moderate. So, let's jump over his abilities for now, and let's go to his skins. So, his base skin, yeah, interesting. I'm feeling his base skin. I like that. It mentioned in the story he had this staff as well that he was wielding before. So it's good to see, obviously, that he's kept that staff, and he, once again, is drawing in souls around him. It seems to be like an ability that a lot of the people from the Shadow Isles have. Whoever they kill, the souls of the people they kill, they can then command. Similar to Thresh here as well, he's got a book on his side that no doubt controls these beings as well. So yeah, I like it. I like his base skin. So, Phantom, because obviously that's not kind of like a Phantom already. Phantom KARTHUS. Whoa, okay, so that's his original Phantom. I like that. I like that. If you know what I mean, that's like a little bit more mystic. A little bit more mystic than this one. A little bit more, I would say a little bit more like Ionia, but not really. But it's a little bit more mystic. Okay, Statue of KARTHUS. Yeah, you remember Statue of Liberty? Yeah, Statue of KARTHUS. So if the Statue of Liberty was consumed by the Shadow Isles, yeah, that's what it looked like. I like it. I like the creativity, the level of creativity they've done to make this. Yeah, I like that. Grim Reaper KARTHUS, because yeah, I think every single champion from the Shadow Isles has to have some kind of Grim Reaper element to him. We saw a very similar thing for Hecarim last week as well. This one is even more Grim Reaper-esque. I mean, complete. Look at that! Look at that sickle as well. Wow. Yeah, I like that one. So Pentakill, yeah, Pentakill KARTHUS is cool as well. I like that. The lead singer in the band. Fanatic KARTHUS. This is KARTHUS here. Oh, I like that. That's nice. KARTHUS Lightsbane. Okay. His look there, it's very similar. There's a skin for Aatrox. There's an Aatrox Prestigious skin, I think, that looks kind of similar to this as well. But I like that. I really like it as well because a lot of them have this kind of green. They have this green element to them. Every one of them kind of in the Pentakill, but they all have this kind of green element to them, which I mentioned before is a theme for the Shadow Isles. This one doesn't. This one's just rocking straight purple. I like that. And then Infernal KARTHUS. Right, nice. Nice. Okay, I like that one as well. Infernal. Look at the size of him there as well. Giant. So, if I had to go back and pick my favourite one, this one for me is kind of easy. They're all decent, but this one by quite a long way, that is my favourite one. If you compare that to the original KARTHUS skin, this is the only one. You could say, okay, Pentakill is kind of similar as well, but this is the only one where he seems to have kind of a human face, and I like that as well. The whole look of it, I'm feeling the purple as well, and it's so different to the rest of them. So for that reason, Lightsbane is my favourite KARTHUS. Number 2 would have to be Pentakill. Nope, Pentakill, that would be my second favourite skin for KARTHUS. And coming in third would be the Grim Reaper, just because it's the Grim Reaper. So yeah, so they're my top 3 skins for KARTHUS. So what I'm going to try and do now is I'm going to try and find a login theme, but I'm struggling to find one, which is a shame because, like it says there, he is a singer. He sings in the bio. It mentioned he was a singer when people were dying, and also he's the singer in Pentakill and also for the Shadow Isles as well. So it's ironic that he's that, and he doesn't even have a damn login theme or login screen. Yeah, so I'm going to try and find one, but if I can't find one and I can't find any special interactions as well, I'm going to have to move on to the story. Let's go. Okay, so a bit of bad news. I cannot find any special interactions, and I also can't find any login theme, which I'm pretty annoyed at. Not annoyed at. I'm pretty disappointed with. I thought there would have definitely been a login theme for KARTHUS, but oh well. If there's anything like that, anything I've missed, feel free to let me know in the comment section, and I will come back and do them. But I don't think there is a login theme. So we'll move on to the story, which is Burial at Sea. So the sea was mirror smooth and dark. A pirate's moon hung low on the horizon as it had for the last 6 nights. Not so much as a whisper of wind stirred the air, only the damned dirge carried from who knew where. Vianax had sailed the oceans around Noxus long enough to know that the seas like this only ever presaged ill fortune. She stood on Darkwill's foredeck. Ah, Darkwill, so he was the leader of Noxus, so I wonder if this is a Noxus ship. training her spyglass on the far ocean, searching for anything she could use to plot their position. Nothing but sea in all directions, she said to the night. No land in sight and no stars to recognise. Our sails are empty of wind, the ore decks have rowed for days, but no matter which way we turn, land never comes and the moon neither waxes nor wanes. She took a moment to rub the heels of her palms against her face. Thirst and hunger growled in her belly, and the constant darkness had made it impossible to accurately gauge the passage of time. The Dark World wasn't even her ship. She'd been its first mate until a Fjordian Reaver's axe had split Captain Metok's skull and given her a sudden promotion. The captain and 15 other Noxian warriors were laid with sewn up hammocks on the main deck. The growing stench rising from the bodies was the only consistent measure of time's passing. She lifted her gaze to the open ocean, and her eyes widened as she saw thick black mist rising from the waters. Shapes moved in the mist, lambent suggestions of clawed arms and gaping mouths. That damned dirge rang out over the water again, louder now and accompanied by a dureless pearls of a funeral bell. The black mist, she said. All hands on deck. She turned and vaulted towards the main deck, running to the quarter deck and the ship's wheel. Not that she could do anything to move the ship, but she'd be damned if she'd be found anywhere else. A haunting lament from lost souls drifted onto that quick over the ship as men stumbled from below decks, and even as terror shivered her spine, Vionax couldn't deny the poetry in the sound. Tears pricked her eyes and ran down her cheeks, not in fear but from infinite sadness. Let me end your grief. The voice in her head was cold and lifeless, the voice of a dead man. It conjured that image of iron-rimmed wheels on a corpse-heaped Karthus, cutting yet another death mark on a staff. Vionax knew the tales of the Black Mist. She knew to avoid the islands brooding beneath the darkness in the east. She thought the ship was far from the Shadow Isles, but she was wrong. She pulled up short as black mist boiled up over the gunwale, bringing with it howls and screeches of dead things. Wraiths spun overhead and swirling choruses of the damned, and the Dark Wolf's crew cried out in terror at the sight of them. Vionax drew her pistol, which isn't going to work, and cocked the hammer as a figure loomed from the mists, towering and wide-shouldered, robed in tattered vestments like an ancient prelate, yet his shoulders and gaunt skull were armoured as a warrior. A chained book, hung at his waist, and he carried a long staff with his hatch notched by countless tally marks. Spectral light shone at its tips and burned like a fallen star in the palms of his free hand. Why do you cry? Said the creature. I am Karthus, and I bring you a great gift. I don't want your gift, said Vionax, pulling the trigger. In the work, her pistol boomed and fire exploded from the barrel. The shot struck the monstrous wraith, but passed through it without harm. You mortal, said Karthus, shaking his helmeted head. You fear what you do not understand. You fear what you do not understand and turn away from a boon that is freely offered. The monster drifted closer, and the dark radiance of his staff bathed the ship's deck in pale, sickly light. Vionax backed away from the wraith's chill as her crew fell before the light, their souls drifting like steam from their bodies. Her heel caught on one of the laid-out hammocks, and she tripped, falling backwards onto her haunches. She pushed herself away from Karthus, stumbling over the bodies of her fellow sailors. The hammock beneath her moved. They were all moving, squirming and wraithing like fresh fish caught gasping for air at the bottom of a boat. Tendrils of mist rose from teasing the canvas and between the rough stitches the ship's sailmakers had used to sew them shut. Faces moved in the mists, faces she'd sailed with for years, men and women she'd fought beside. The wraith towered over her, and the dead crew of the Dark Horse stood beside him. Their spirit forms limned in moonlight. Death is nothing to be feared, Mistress Vionax, said Karthus. It will free you from your pain. It will lift your eyes from your mundane existence and show you the glory of life eternal. Embrace the beauty and wonder of death. Let go of your mortality. You don't need it. You do not need it. He held his hand out with the light that swelled to envelop her. She screamed as it passed through her skin, into muscle, through bone, down to her very soul. The wraith clenched his fist, and Vionax cried out as she felt herself being unwoven from the inside out. Let your soul fly free, said Karthus, turning to carve another notch in his staff with a sharpened nail. You shall feel no pain, no fear, no desire to feel anything but the beauty of what I have to show you. Miracles and wonders await mortal. Why would you not crave such rapture? No, she said with her last breath, I do not want to see. It is already done, said Karthus. Okay, so this is just a day in the night in it of Karthus. This is the standard practice for him. I can guarantee he does this every single day. Yeah, grim. And once again, he doesn't care, does he? He doesn't care about what anyone else wants. He's taking them regardless. He's killing them regardless. And clearly he's brainwashed. But at least there's some consistency. There's some consistency between him, so far, between him, the Ruin King, and also Hecarim. Clearly they value, obviously, death over life. And this is another classic example of that. So what I'm going to finish on now is his spotlight. Let's go.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Karthus, the Death Singer.
The Death Singer. Love it.
Karthus willingly gave up his mortality in the Shadow Wilds to embrace undeath, and in the process was twisted into a powerful lich. Today he drifts through Runeterra, offering eternal unlife to the living masses.
State of Karthus.
In-game, Karthus is a solo lane mage, or jungler, capable of dealing devastating area of effect damage to his surrounding enemies, before unleashing his iconic ultimate on opponents near and far.
Iconic ultimate. Let's see.
Karthus' passive is Death Defied. When killed, Karthus becomes invulnerable and untargetable for a few seconds, during which he can cast his abilities for free before dying for realsies.
Oh, okay.
Note that while Death Defied is active, Karthus cannot move, use basic attacks, or cast summoner spells. Lay Waste is Karthus' primary damage ability, one that runs on an extremely low cooldown. Karthus draws out necromantic power at your cursor, briefly granting vision before exploding and dealing magic damage to all nearby enemies.
Okay.
A key aspect of the ability is that Lay Waste deals double damage whenever it strikes only one target, making Karthus especially lethal in duels.
Got him.
In-game, use Lay Waste to last hit minions and harass your lane opponent. Karthus' W is Wall of Pain.
What a name.
Karthus summons a spectral wall that slows all enemies who come into contact with it, while also shredding their magic resist. Wall of Pain has a couple of interesting points. First, the slow and size of the wall increase as you level it up. And second, the two ends of the wall grant vision, meaning you can scout ahead or check objectives in relative safety.
Smart.
Use Wall of Pain to disengage from ganks. Place it on your attacker as you make your escape to slow the enemy's pursuit. Karthus' E, Defile, is a toggled ability. Toggled off, Defile passively restores mana each time Karthus kills a unit. Toggled on, Karthus surrounds himself with the souls of his victims, draining mana as he deals continuous damage to all nearby enemies.
Whoa.
The active effect moves with Karthus, making it great for close combat.
Wow.
Note that the mana restore does not function when Defile is active, and that the ability is automatically toggled on whenever Karthus dies.
Damn you, Timo.
Or doesn't die. Whatever. Use Defile in clustered teamfights to deal massive damage to multiple enemies. Karthus is often a priority target, so activating Defile as the enemy charges in means you return some damage even if you get killed. Or not killed. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Finally, Karthus' ultimate is Requiem.
Here we go.
Once activated, Karthus channels for a few seconds before dealing magic damage to every enemy champion on the map, whether they're visible or not.
What? He mentioned before, didn't he? His ultimate's kind of epic. That's epic. What?
Requiem's long channel time can be interrupted by crowd control and death, even the fate kind. So timing is especially important.
So it deals damage to every single enemy champion on the map, regardless if you can see them or not.
When playing, keep an eye on other lanes and use Requiem to secure kills whenever an enemy escapes with low health. Ask your teammates to let you know whenever you can give them assist gold.
That's crazy.
Making the most of Death Defied's short window of invulnerability is key to mastering KARTHUS, so here are a few quick tips to get the biggest bang out of your 7-second buff. First, note that Requiem's channel time takes up almost half of his passive's duration, and that you won't be able to start channeling it if it wouldn't complete before your passive ends. This makes timing the number of abilities you can use crucial to optimizing your damage while defying death. Second, whenever you die, remember to not panic. You've got time, but you need to act fast. Start by casting Wall of Pain. Ideally placed so multiple enemies have to run through it. Now you'll have enough time for 3 Q casts, or 4 if you've maxed your cooldown reduction, before you begin channeling Requiem. This pattern should give you just enough time to use all your abilities and deal as much damage as possible.
That's crazy.
Lay Waste essentially replaces your basic attack and is your bread and butter ability for almost everything. Focus on learning the radius of the ability to land double damage Qs and last hit minions. Then harass whenever you get the chance. The passive from Defile should allow you to lay waste every single minion.
Wow.
Requiem gives KARTHUS incredible presence in every lane, so keep a close eye on the map for opportunities to secure or assist with kills in other lanes. Seeing Udyr come in against the enemy bot lane, KARTHUS heads down from mid to assist. Knowing that Xerath can interrupt Requiem, KARTHUS moves out of line of sight before channeling his ultimate, handily killing Renekton in the top lane, and earning an assist on Caitlyn's bot lane death.
That is mental.
After ulting, KARTHUS runs into Xerath and the two duel. KARTHUS plays this fight really well. By staying super close, he's able to keep Defile's damage up, focus on dodging Xerath's skill shots, and then land successive Qs when not dodging for the kill. One of KARTHUS' biggest weaknesses is Requiem's long channel time. As a fragile mage, he needs to plan ahead before ulting to make sure his channel isn't disrupted.
It's so epic though,
loses
that's
the
why.
fight by making himself an easy target at a crucial moment in the duel.
Yeah, that's obvious, isn't it?
That said, Requiem can also be countered by items and summoner spells, so try to take note of the tools your enemies have before ulting. After trading with Cassiopeia, KARTHUS backs off to channel Requiem, only to watch her save her own life with a well-timed Zhonya's Hourglass, wasting Requiem and ensuring her allies can breathe easy for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Remember that Wall of Pain deals its full slow, even if you just barely tag enemies with the edge of it. Here, casting the ability over terrain slows Lucian enough to give Quinn the chance to catch up and secure the kill.
Yeah. Nice.
Finally, unlike most mages, KARTHUS operates best in the middle of the enemy team, and unlike all other champions, sometimes you want to die to help win the fight.
Yeah.
Here, KARTHUS aggressively flashes toward the Baron pit before unleashing his abilities, disrupting and distracting the enemy team from killing Baron. Although he ultimately dies, kind of, in the process, he forces the enemy team out of the Baron pit and helps his team clean up the fight. When building KARTHUS, focus on 3 key stats: mana, ability power, and magic penetration. Defile's high mana cost means you need to buy some mana items to use it properly in fights.
Yep.
Afterwards, start picking up your hard-hitting AP items, and then focus on late-game magic penetration to multiply your damage even farther. A late-game Zhonya's Hourglass is also great because the active invulnerability synergizes really well with the all-in playstyle and Defile's active. Thanks for tuning in to the KARTHUS Champion Spotlight.
Wow.
Please subscribe.
Wow, that was a really good spotlight. And let me just recap on 2 important things there. First of all, he's when he dies, technically he's not dead. He's got like, did it say another 7 or 8 seconds where he can use his abilities? If that wasn't crazy enough, an ultimate that damages every single person on the enemy team regardless of where they are on the map. Wow, that is. And then it said there, didn't it? It said, oh, his ultimate has a long cooldown. You think? Obviously it's got a long cooldown if it's like that. That is crazy. Next time I go on League, I might have to play KARTHUS. I might have to play him. We shall see. Anyways, yeah, hopefully you guys actually enjoyed my thoughts and reactions and breakdown of the champion KARTHUS, including the bio, the story, his skins, and this spotlight. Once again, a little bit of a shame about his login theme and also any special interactions, but I'm sure we'll cover some of his interactions when I get round to the end and go through the Legends of Runeterra interactions for the Shadow Isles. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one.